Hi, Will.
Hi
How are you
there. Good.
today?
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for your time today. Okay, I'm just gonna fess up. I'm a huge Peter Rabbit fan. Have been ever since I was a little girl,
Nice.
and I wanted to know what was your first experience with Beatrix Potter, Peter Rabbit?
It was my parents reading Peter Rabbit to me when I was a kid. I mean, my dad's name is Peter. I'm convinced his mother read it to him. I'm convinced that's why I made these movies. Because if not, maybe. But so I remember him reading. He loved reading the books to me, and then started reading the books to my kids. And just like you, I just had all these fond memories of Peter Rabbit growing up, and you kind of can't shake them.
Well, for sure. Did you have the dishes? Gotta know.
We didn't have the dishes. We didn't have the dishes. They didn't have the dishes. We had the books. But I know in the UK, all my friends, you can't not have a dish and be a
Yeah. I
citizen.
still have it in my dining room cabinet.
You
They're
really?
still there. I still have it from my grandmother got it for me when I was a little girl. So might be worth a few dollars. I don't know, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna hold on. I'm
Yeah.
gonna hold on to it for sure. Well, congratulations. I absolutely love this. I love the first one. I love this one even more. So much fun. And what I love so much about these films, Will, is that you don't dumb it down for the kids. You also make it enjoyable for the adults. How hard is it to use sound so and everybody's laughing?
It's not hard once I realized in the first one that we're not making a movie for kids. I wrote a big sign on the door of the first movie. This is not a kids movie, meaning that so oftentimes you go, we'll just make a dumb joke or scatological, the banana peel joke, and I said no, it has to make us all laugh and all. And I think what I realized having kids too is that we underestimate how smart kids are. Not
Yeah,
not not just the fact that they'll get more than we think they do, but they don't care if they don't understand something.
right.
Kids go through life not understanding anything. That's what's called learning. So they're not bothered by not understanding something. It's the parents that are wildly bothered by it.
That's what,
So once I
absolutely.
realized that it doesn't matter, the kids are fine with it. The parents will get it, and the kids will ask them later, "What's it about?" It was a lot of interesting conversations with the studio about this kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I just kept saying we're not doing it. It's got to appeal to every single person. And a lot of these movies growing up, you get older, the kids movies you liked, what you remember is the older stuff, is the smarter stuff. You're not remembering the banana peels. You're remembering the smart stuff.
Yeah, so true. It's a good point for sure. Now, how fun is it to take Peter and his friends out of their element? Because you can
Um,
go wild with this, as you did.
yeah,
I mean, really.
it's fun, but we also have to make sure I didn't want to make it. I didn't want to go down the road of just dark city urban. So it was like a balance that it's really fun to take them out of their element. Um, but again, that was the balancing act to and I also didn't want to say that the city is worse than the country, like all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of thought goes into it. But also their city was like this most beautiful town, so it's not like they're going to enter city name here.
For sure. And one thing about Peter too, like in this film, he's growing up, he's getting a little older, and he's getting more mischievous, and he's learning lessons as teens in real life do as well. You know what I mean? So he is relatable as to what he does. So my first question is, James Corden is perfect voice for Peter as far as I'm concerned, because James is also can be a little bit fun and mischievous. So,
Mhm.
was that always on your radar? Like he was the guy that had to be Peter.
Yes, I met him in 2011 in London when I went to go see his play. We hung out afterwards, kind of became friends with him. And as soon as I started playing around with this Peter Rabbit idea and getting the rights, I said it has to be James. It was never even a question.
Yeah.
So it was in my head. It was James. James is, yes, what you said is well put, and also he's an incredible collaborator and so fun to work with, and so much of that. I mean, this wasn't one of those movies that you just handed the script to someone and said, "Read it." We must have been in the recording studio 50 times.
Yeah.
So it's like you want a real partner, and that I found in him.
I was going to ask you that because when you have such a talent like that, and he's so quick and he's so smart, and you have 50 different takes of the same scene, how on earth do you even choose what you're going to use?
Well, it's problematic when we have to animate everything, especially down in
Yeah.
Australia when they do it. So we would often start something, play around with it in the recording studio, change it completely, decide right there I want to do it, and then I would have to call Australia and say, I got some bad news for you. And since it's the second movie, they kind of were prepared for it, but we threw a lot of stuff away.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I really honestly would love to see some of those outtakes for sure. And never mind just James. I mean, your whole voice cast, the whole cast. Like seriously, dude. I mean, David Oyelowo as like Mopsy, no Flopsy, Mopsy, right? Flopsy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I sorry, I get them mixed up. I know one's a girl, one's a boy, but yeah. But honestly, for him to come on board, that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I mean, we really wanted to cast like, and we treated this like even the voice actors. We were acting. We weren't hiring cartoon voices, and similar with the live action. Like
Yeah.
I wanted a legit British Shakespearean actor to be the villain, and David is that.
Yeah, it's so cool. Really, really cool. How much fun is it for you, Will, when you're directing these actors, voice, real, real life and everything, and they're essentially reacting to nothing?
Mhm.
How is that?
It's weird. It's weird. I mean, it's a learning curve for me, learning curve for them. Um, the hardest part is I mean, the hardest scene in the last two movies where it was the scene when Donald Gleason was on the curb talking to Peter about what a father means in a very emotional scene, and
Yeah,
he's talking to nothing, and
right.
I'm the voice of Peter being Peter behind him. So not only is he nothing, he's looking this way, acting emotional, and he's hearing me behind it. It's just bananas, but it's like acting on acting.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Well, he's such a great actor.
Yeah,
He's so fantastic. Him and Rose work so well together.
yeah.
I hope you're thinking about a next one.
We
This
are.
could go on forever.
We have a good idea for the third one. We do a really good idea.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, I want to ask you, I remember, 11 years ago at the Toronto International Film Festival, we sat down with a young lady
Yeah.
named Emma Stone for Easy A. I will never forget that film. I love it so, so much. But at the time, Emma was kind of like, okay, who is this girl? And will she, okay, look at her now. I mean, come on, seriously. How did you know she had what she had?
Anyone would. When she came in when she came in audition for that was back in the days when people auditioned for movies. Remember those days before they
Yeah,
just offered their agents. Um, she was in. She was. I mean, it wasn't hard. I remember going. I mean, it's a long that people are talking about now, but I remember filming it on my computer and then walking over across the street to the studio and just showing it to them, and they're like, "Yep." Like
yeah.
it wasn't a hard one. It wasn't a hard one. She's amazing, and that was a fun movie to make. And I can't believe it was 11 years ago. My God.
And either. And I remember it exactly sitting there across from her at the hotel in Toronto. I mean, honestly, it's just sometimes you remember things.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
one I'll never forget. Well, thank you for that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for Peter Rabbit. Keep them coming, like you say. And it's just always a pleasure to talk to you,
You
Will.
too.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Take
Appreciate
care.
it.
Bye.
Okay, bye bye.